in Kanwaka, just west of Lawrence. Kanwaka community was named such because it lies between the Kansas River and the Wakarusa River. But I get ahead of myself. Let me go back to where it all began. My husband was born and raised in Rhode Island, and he was the son of a Quaker preacher. And he farmed, but was also very active in the abolition. Hello, I'm Lucy Green. I'm the wife of Elijah Green. We live here in this lovely valley in the Kanwaka community just west of Lawrence, Kansas. It was named such because it lies between the Kansas and the Wakarusa rivers. But I get ahead of myself. Let me start at the beginning. Elijah was born and raised in Rhode Island, and he was the son of a Quaker preacher. I was born in Maine and studied, which was quite unusual for a young woman to be well educated. And my first job was in Rhode Island, where I met Elijah. We moved shortly after our marriage to Illinois. That was 1837. And we spent 20 years in Illinois, where my husband became very involved in the abolition movement and the Underground Railroad. Now, we had to be very careful about what we said, and my children learned at a very young age not to answer any questions about their father. Well, one day, my little Albert was only about this high, and we stood there and we watched 3 slavers at our front door, and they were demanding entrance and wanted to talk to my husband. We let them come in and look around. They were looking for him, and they were looking for slaves that had run away. However, my husband was already gone, and he had taken his cargo on north on the Underground Railroad. After living in Illinois for about 20 years, we moved to Kansas in 1857 because the Kansas Territory had been opened by the Kansas-Nebraska Act. And the citizens living in those territories were going to decide whether they were going to be a free state or a slave state. Well, my husband had no question. He was on the wagon as soon as that announcement was made. And we took 1 month to get from Illinois to this beautiful valley in Kanwaka. Now, when we came, we had several children by that time. Henry, our oldest, and Albert, and our daughter Anna, and we had adopted a young girl, Margaret Mary. Anna got sick on the way, and we discovered soon that she had scarlet fever, and unfortunately Anna never fully recovered, and to this day she cannot tell us her name. We arrived in Kanwaka, and my husband was soon busy setting up conducting points on the Underground Railroad. And we ourselves held many a secret meeting in our cabin at night. Our 2 sons eventually went to fight in the war. Henry was not real well, so he stayed locally but ended up in the middle of the battle at Westport and was severely injured. And he came home. Albert went on and fought with the Union Army, and the most wonderful day was when he returned home from the war. We have a wonderful home here in the valley, and we hope you like this area. And please look around and see the beautiful sights of this wonderful time.
Fathers, lock up your daughters. This man should be known as what he is, a womanizer and a murderer.
Or as we refer to him as old bottlenose or the mouth from the south. It is indeed a pleasure to be here today to speak to you fine folks about a most important issue, and that is whether or not we will enter this great union of ours as a free state.
I'm from Iowa.
Do we have any Buckeyes from Ohio here today? No. How about suckers from Illinois? Hoosiers, my home state of Indiana.
Can't you finally translate?
Anytime we have a political meeting, we have plenty of good Kansas Jayhawkers. From the great state of Missouri. You know, we have a nickname for Missourians out here in the Henry's territory. We refer to Missourians as pukes or pukers. So welcome you, Missouri.
I'm going out on the street.
Frog shot. On beautiful Kansas soil, and I have seen a fraudulent legislature forced upon us by the neighboring slave state of Missouri. Great God, I have seen crime in every shape and form committed against the settlers of Kansas.
Tell us how much you've committed, Elaine.
You folks remember the bogus election of '55? The bogus legislature and the infamous bogus laws of Kansas, written by a blacker set of men that you cannot find out of hell. Thousands of these Missouri devils, these cutthroats, these wolves, these snakes, these damn cubes, protected by federal officers and troops under Frank Pierce and Jeff Davis. They poured across our border with Bowie knives in their boots and in their belts, bristling with revolvers, with the guarantee of 3 gallons of rot gut Missouri Sour Mash whiskey.
Here,
For the only courage they could muster to commit their outrages came from the judge. These Missourians, these border ruffians, they claim to own Kansas, to have a right to vote here, to make our laws, to make Kansas a free state. For which we proclaim never, never, never shall Kansas be a slave state. Have sowed the whirlwind out here in Kansas territory, and ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen and gentlewomen, they shall reap the storm of Jim Lane's glorious Army of the North. Thrust aside all the negative untruths you sometimes hear about old Jim Lane. Search for the truth, and you shall realize that Jim Lane, that I have been the champion of liberty and freedom throughout all of Kansas territory.
Elaine, you're nothing but the devil in a cool skin cap.
And with that, I shall end by wishing you all happiness and prosperity. And hoping to meet you again before the next election. I bid each and every one of you farewell, Godspeed, good luck, good day, free state citizens.
Pretty exciting farm, not your usual humdrum place, because we were a station on the Underground Railroad. We never knew